Hello again and welcome everyone. Today we're talking about these Halloween themed menu boards I created for a fictitious restaurant named the Creepy Cadavern. I created these on 5 chalkboards with the final design being done in chalk markers this time. I did this because they are going to be temporary. I just made them for Halloween and to teach you how to make a menu board. Normally paint pens can be used on menu boards that won't be changing often and therefore do not need to be erased often. They are much more durable than chalk markers. But again, since this was temporary, I just wanted to use chalk markers for this. I ended up using 2 different brands of chalk markers for these boards, Versachalk and the Bistro markers by Uchida. I hope that I'm saying that right. That's why some of the boards have a slightly different look. If I had had more time or I was doing this for an actual client, I would have redone them so they all looked uniform, and I also would have been more picky about the mistakes. But since I'm using these temporarily to teach and as temporary decorations for Halloween, I left them the way they are. I'm sure you noticed by now that these boards are full of Halloween puns. I spent many hours coming up with most of these. A few I found on the internet, but there surprisingly weren't that many when I looked. In the bonus footage, near the end of the video, we will go over the menu in depth, including all of the puns. That was the fun part. Some of the puns are a bit of a stretch though, okay, so humor me. So first, I'm seasoning the boards. I did this to all 5, but I'm only using one of the boards to teach. If you remember from the Yard Game scoreboard video from my channel, you do the seasoning before writing anything on the board to prevent ghosting on the board. All you do is drag this long side of a chalk over the board in all directions, making sure you spread the chalk dust all around, and then you just wipe it off, and it'll be kind of still there on the surface a little bit. Now I'm making a 1/2 inch margin on the board. That's what I figured out for these boards as far as the layout. And I did this to all 5 boards on all 4 sides, but each board had its individual layout within the margins. I planned each of these layouts on the Procreate app again. I also created the logo for the Creepy Cadavern from scratch, and I did this also in Procreate. I just played around with the space that was left on the first board. Then I took that logo design I drew and I brought it into Adobe Illustrator to vectorize it and to increase the size so it would fit on the board in the exact space that it was meant to. In order to get it in that space, I chose to do another chalk transfer, but this time I recorded the entire process. Okay, so I printed out the logo I made for the restaurant. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to trace this in Sharpie, because I already have it drawn out. I don't need to draw it from scratch, in which case I would have used a pencil first and then traced it in Sharpie, but I don't need to do that this time. So what I'm going to do is trace this on tracing paper, and then I'm going to trace it on the other side of the paper with chalk, put it on the sign where I want it, and then trace over it in the Sharpie again, so the chalk transfers onto the board. And then I'm going to take this off, and everything left will be the chalk that's transferred onto the board. And then I'll trace that with chalk marker, and then should be a perfect recreation of this onto the board. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to turn this sideways for a minute because it'll be easier for me to trace. And you just want to keep this in the same spot while we trace. I could tape it, but I think I'll be all right. So that's the tracing in Sharpie. So now I'm going to trace over this in chalk. Shouldn't need this anymore, but I'm going to use it for backing, just so the Sharpie doesn't transfer over if it's still wet. So I'm going to trace the back of this with, as you can see, the back of this with chalk. and then transfer the chalk over onto the chalkboard. So I got a nice sharpened piece of chalk. So I'm just going to trace over the black now, Sharpie, on the back side with the chalk. Okay. I don't know how well you can see, but got some chalk there on that side. I'll take this away. Now, get this centered on there as best as possible. Looks pretty good to me. Let me tape it on. I'm going to go over it again with the Sharpie now. We're going to transfer it in. See how it goes. All right, moment of truth. Very, very faint, but it's on there. I know it's very faint. See if I can move this up a little so you can see. I don't know if that helps. But now we can trace it in chalk pen. Except I think I'm going to make the creepy part in a different color. But let me get the rest of it first. You can kind of see that. I know the strokes aren't that good. Fix that a little bit. This way. And I want to get a different color for the creepy. So looks good, doesn't it? Trying to decide stylistically what I want to do with Cadavern. I want to leave it open like that. I want to fill it in. I want to put a pattern inside of some sort. Ta-da! So that's done. I think it's fine the way it is. I could have possibly done something more with the lettering on Cadavern, but it's fine. I'm gonna leave it the way it is. So that's the logo. Okay, so I wanted to give kind of a breakdown of what I'm doing here with this board. Again, I'm just going to be showing one and I'm going to do the rest of them. But this is the layout I have on the board. And I have all the things I'm going to put on it here. So like the main categories are the severed finger foods, which is like the appetizers. And then kind of a subcategory down here. That's going to go here. Then a subcategory down here, I'm going to have the charcuterie board. I made a little box for that because it's part of the severed finger foods, but it's actually like a special kind. It's not included in all of this. And I actually have a little more work to do over here because I have to put in the sampler on this side. But this is for, these lines are mainly for writing all of these, which are these severed finger foods. So we're going to get that left aligned here, so it's going to start right on the left margin. There'll be a little bit of a space. And then I'm going to have prices for all these, as you would see in a restaurant. And then on this side, I'm doing another rectangle, which I haven't put on yet, for the sampler. I'm going to see how this looks and how much room I'm going to have for this. Either way, I'll have room. I know that. I just have to figure it out when I get everything written out. And this is for, charcuterie board's going to be here, and then the explanation is going to be in here in this box. This is just a middle line. This is going to get erased eventually. I haven't actually made these lines permanent yet. Well, not permanent. I haven't made these lines with the chalk pen yet. I just have them in the stabilo all for now. I'm going to do that. These are all guidelines. They're going to get erased completely. This is a little box for the explanation of sauces that I have under the, so it's available for all of the finger foods, the severed finger foods. So that's just a little explanation for that. It comes with your choice of sauce. And then these are all there's 9 of them. All of the severed finger food things. And then, like I said, as soon as I get all that in, I have sampler platters where you can choose 3 of these or 5 of these, depending on which one you want, how many people you want to feed. So that's how this is going to go. And this was mainly to get in these lines. So what I did here was these big hash marks are 1 inch and this is a 1/2 inch. So I didn't actually use those for the smaller line here, but this whole big hash mark here is 1 inch. So for each of these choices here, it's all going to be written in here, but you're going to have a little bit of space in there as well between this one and the next one. So what I did was do 3/4 of 1 inch for the actual letters and then 1/4 inch for the space. So that's what this is. So each one of those has that. The lines got a little weird down here because my pencil wasn't sharpened enough, so. But I know they're going to get erased anyway for one, but I also know the line that I'm supposed to be looking at. So I'm not that worried about it. So I need to fill all this in with the words, and then these boxes, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this box or not, but this one down here I need to fill in because I'm going to make a box for the charcuterie board rather than like a separate category, because it's technically part of the severed finger foods. So severed finger foods is going to go here. That's going to be like the category that's on this sign. And then these are the choices. And then charcuterie board is another choice, but it's not included in these choices that the sampler platter would come with. So it's separate, but it's still under this category. So I decided to make this like a little box, and it's going to have its own price. So we'll see how that turns out. I already need to, because I scratched a little when I was doing things, I already need to fill this in again. And this. And I wanted to go over this anyway because I need to make it look a little more finished. So I'll do that at the end. But I have the border lines in, and I kind of have to do this one again because it's kind of light over here. But I have the border lines in for the category, the whole thing, and then the category here that I have. And then I'm pretty sure I'm going to erase this box. It's just to keep it within that, to have a little bit bigger of a margin here and to be centered rather than these, which are going to be left aligned. That was just kind of my little reminder of how much space I want to take. So yeah, I think I'm going to eventually end up erasing this box. But this box I am going to draw in. So I'm probably going to do that first, this box. And then I'll start writing in all these. And then after I get these done, I'm going to have to kind of erase this and make a little box for the sampler. But I want to get this in first, see how it looks, and then because I need the price in there as well. So we're going to see how much space that's going to take up and then get the samplers in there. So that is what I have planned for this board. The rest of them are going to be pretty similar. I may give you a little overview of each one. We'll see. But that is that, and you'll see it when it's done. I just want to go over this. This is all the things that are going to go on this board, the words. So the severed finger foods is the thing that's going to go in this here, because this is the subcategory. This sign itself only has one. A lot of the other ones are going to have more than one. But that's going to go here, and it's severed fingers, where I labeled it here. This is going to be an explanation of the sauces that goes underneath it, which I don't have on this board, but I didn't really need it. I don't have written on this board yet, but I'm going to get it on there. But anyway, I wanted the main categories to be centered, so I figured out that severed finger foods has 20 with the letters and the spaces in between. That's going to equal 20. So finding the center of that, I divided by 2, and I got 10. And then counted again to find where 10 was, and it was between the I and the N. And I double checked from this side to make sure this was also 10. And the same thing here, it ended up being exactly the same with 20. So I did 10 again. So these two, because they're even numbers, the center goes right through the space in well, there isn't really technically a space, but right in between the two letters. But if it was an odd number, it would be right through another letter, so everything would be kind of offset a little, where the center would be actually in the middle of the letter rather than next to it. So with this one, we don't have anything like that. So then this was just a note to myself for something else. You don't have to worry about that. But these are all the things that are going to be underneath the severed finger foods title here. There's 9 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are all going to be in those. I think I mentioned already this was going to be the explanation of the sauces. So we're going to start with the Mozzarella X here. And everything, I think I said this, but everything is going to be margin, on the left margin rather than centered here. So those will all, I don't have to worry about finding the center of those. I just have to worry about how many spaces they're going to take up. So I have that written down here. And the biggest one is the main thing I have to worry about is the 23 with the jalapeno heart stoppers. So that's the one where it's really going to determine. I put that one on the end because it's probably going to take up more space than, well, it's going to take up more anyway than the rest of them, but it's going to take up more space than is available because, again, I want the sampler platter over here, and I need to figure that out. That's why I haven't drawn it on here yet. But the jalapeno heart stoppers are probably going to come like over here-ish with their price as well. And the rectangle I'm going to make for the little sampler platter thing is going to just be above that. It's not going to be the entire thing because this is probably going to go right through it where it would be. Otherwise the box would be way too small. So we're going to see how it looks. I mean, it's not that big. And actually this 37 was for how many inches are, or how many half inches it was, are like spaces are within this border here. These two borders, the margin borders. So that's how many spaces I have on, actually I made a little ruler on the T-square here. So there's 37 of these little spaces here. This is the center. I have that marked a few different ways, but it's kind of a bad angle here, but you see it's the center. And this is the margin where that is, and this one, I made those the same. And these are the margins for the board. But anyway, I'm going to use this in conjunction so I can kind of, instead of drawing all the lines on here, when I go through and I do each of these, I'm like, okay, this letter goes here, this letter goes within here. So that's what I'm going to do with that. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing with this board and the rest of them. Like I said, I'm going to do a little time lapse of this one while I work, but that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll just show you the end result of the other ones. Okay, real quickly, I added a few more lines because I forgot I had to do this. So for the category up here, the severed finger foods, I added 1/4 inch top and bottom margin. So the lettering all stays in here. There's a little bit of space. So I did the same thing here, and charcuterie board's gonna go within those lines, and there'll be a little bit of space in between where the box starts and the lettering. So I wanted to make the lettering special for all of the punny parts of the menu items. For the main categories, like you see here, I made the punny parts with the ghost lettering. It's a style where you basically make a block letter that's invisible, and all you see is the shadow behind it. All of my ghost letters in these boards had shadows in the top and the right. And when I want to center something, I typically start in the center and work my way to the right first, and then I go back and work my way backward from the center to the left. Another thing I want to add in here real quick is I actually, for this board, the one that you're seeing, I used the Stabilo All for my guidelines, and I ended up switching to chalk for the rest of them. That was because the Stabilo All is a little harder to erase. It's not hard in general, it's just that the chalk markers are also kind of easy to erase, so that when I was trying to kind of push a little harder to get the Stabilo All off the board, I ended up smudging a lot of my chalk marker, so I had to redo it. And I did that a little bit when I did the chalk as well, but it was a little easier without doing anything to the chalk marker when I used the chalk. Again, I still smeared it a little bit and I had to redo some parts, but the reason I used chalk was because I was using chalk marker for the final thing. If I was using paint marker, it wouldn't have mattered. Alright, have to do more erasing, but this is what I got for the category. That's what I'm going to be doing for all of them. This is ghost lettering here. And then I need to fill that in a little more, but that's solid for the regular, the part of the word that's not punny, you know. I think these are the order I want things in. I know this I want at the end. I mean, I don't think it matters as much with this. But I'm going to be doing all of the pun parts, the Halloween puns in red and the rest of it in white. And I'm going to make it all capital letters, not like I have it here. So let's see what that looks like. Keep this here so I can reference. Like I said, I'm starting left aligned, so I don't have to worry about where the center is. I just have to try to keep everything the same width. I'm not going to measure it out because I'm kind of running out of time. And then for the subcategories and the actual items, I made all of the puns in a different color. I chose the dark blood red color. Did you catch that mistake there? I put hag rolls again instead of hag plant. And last but not least, I don't want to start with that, do I? So here's what it looked like to have all those items filled in on this board. Alright, let's get this box filled in. I need my smaller one for that. And this is what the final result was from this board altogether. And then the other 4 boards. Again, we'll go over this in depth in the bonus footage. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the results here. There's a little bit that's off, that's bothering me, but I didn't have time for getting this video out to fix it. So it is what it is. And again, if I was doing this for an actual client, I would have given myself more time, so there would have been a better result. I know this is kind of a shorter tutorial this week, but I hope you found it helpful. I am planning on creating a more dedicated video on creating chalkboard signs as a whole, where I will go into everything more in depth, as well as signage made with other materials and other projects too. I've got plenty more to come on this channel, but this is it for today. So stay tuned for the bonus footage. All right, everyone. That is going to do it for this week's video. Stay tuned until the very end. I've got some bonus footage and sneak peeks for you. But first, I want to thank you, yes you, for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you found it to be helpful, use those buttons. If you want to see more, you can follow Shrush Design on social media. The links are all in the description. And if you would like to browse my online shops, I have 2 Etsy shops and a Fiverr account, also listed below. If you are local to southeastern Wisconsin, I have even more services available, so you'll want to check out my website for that information. But wait, there's more! If you happen to be planning a wedding in the near future, I have another YouTube channel called Shrush Design Weddings, through which I discuss all of the choices you'll have while planning your wedding. And I also have another channel called Poised Pencraft, through which I teach the art of lettering, calligraphy, and some graphic design skills if you want to learn how to create your own designs from scratch and make each project truly your own. Links for both of those channels are, you guessed it, in the description. So if you're all subscribed now and ready for next week's video, I'll see you then. For now though, I'll leave you with the bonus footage and sneak peeks. Enjoy! So again, for the bonus footage for this video, I'm putting 2 little clips of Assistant Chaz since he's not really in the main video. He was there trying to help me. He wasn't available in the filming space. But actually, for the most part in this project, he left me alone, which was nice. Nice to be able to do something on my own for once. And then we're going to go through all of the boards and all of the puns on the boards. Yes? You want to help? What job do you want to do? What do you think? What should I do next? Hello and welcome to the Creepy Cadavern. How may I unnerve you today? Would you like a tour of the menu? To start, we have our severed finger foods. And these are all served with one choice of dipping sauce. We have scarinara, scream cheese, honey custard, boo cheese, sour scream, and fear cheese. And if you want an additional sauce or a refill on your sauce, it's going to cost you 50 cents. We're not made of money here. So for the severed finger foods, we have clotzarella icks, potato skins, terra fried pickles, deviled hags, hag rolls, terra fried eggplant, giant pretzel, gruffalo wings, and the jalapeno heart stoppers. Now you can get a sampler splatter if you got a large group or you're really hungry. You can have a choice of 3 of those for $18 or a choice of 5 for $30. Plus, you get 3 sauce choices with those sampler splatters, so it's a great deal. Now we also have, as a starter, we have our charcuterie board, and it's a great deal for $12. Variety of meats and cheeses. So for meats, we have the salami, pastrami, prosciutto, opressetta, and gabagool. For cheeses, we have Roquefort, Camembert, Zambri, Gorgonzola, and Herman Munster. This board is also served with a variety of breads, crackers, and pustards to go along with it. For our classic entrees, we have chicken nuggets, Halloweeners, killed cheese sandwich, a ghost beef sandwich, a hamburger and a cheeseburger, and then a patty welt, a feet loaf, a Salisbury steak, chicken rot pie, queeze pizza, hack and queeze. We also have goops and slews. A cup will cost you $3, a bowl $5. We have chicken boodle, scream of mushroom, Italian deading, fright bean chili, and beef slew. Now we also have melades, or melades, tomato. We have choices of dressing with your melades. We have wench, d'Italian, boo cheese, or my personal favorite, balsamic vinaigrette. So the melades themselves, we have backstab Caesar, cobweb, and your garden variety haunted house salad. Then we have some d'Italian dishes as well. We have scabvioli, mortellini, spaghetti, fettuccine alfredo, strangle hair pasta, and that can be served with your choice of sauce. We have screamy fright, dead meat, scarinara, or pesto. And all of these entrees are served with our world-famous garlic dead sticks. Except for the vampires, aren't going to like that very much. We also have Mexican or Hispanic, whichever you prefer to say. We have burritos, tostadas, tamales, enchiladas, and then we have a Chaco special where you can mix and match with hard and soft hell tortillas. And you can get 3 of them for $10 or 5 for $12. And all of these entrees are served with sour cream, guacamole, and frico de gallo. And if you prefer something more substantial, we have our black flame grilled entrees. We have the murder house steak, the New York rip steak, the filet mignon, the enderloin steak, the furloin steak, the T-bone steak, and if you don't want beef, we have corpse chops, scare ribs, or ghosted chicken. All of these entrees come with a choice of 2 of our hide dishes. We have potato sledges, smashed potatoes, steaked potatoes, corn on the cobweb, ghosted vegetables, a side malade, or a cup of goop or slew. And if you want an extra side, or if you're ordering with another entree that doesn't come with these, you can get those for $2 each. Now for our normal severages, we have soft jinks. We have choke, diet choke, fright, hello yellow, Dr. Pepper, all for $2. And then for the Jews, that's Jews as in ooze, not as in the people. Jews as in J and then ooze, Jews, not Jewish people. Anyway, for the Jews we have gorange, crapple, and tomato. We also have diced tea. We have demonade, coffee with scream and booger, and we also have a snot chocolate with marshmallows. And throttled water if you don't like our water from the slap. If you're looking for something a little more adult, we have a variety of booze and spirits. Now for fear, we have 5 varieties on slap for $6 a glass. We have Killer Genuine Draft, Killer High Life, Killer Light, Staps Boo Ribbon, and Boo Moon Belgian Fright. And we have 4 varieties throttled for $5 each, so you can get a throttle of each. We have Dyneken, Gorona, Ghost Eckies, and Hella Artois. Now, if you're more into wine, we have some dead wines, Cabernet Sauvignon, Sinfenhel, Malbec, and Beaujolais. If you like the fright wines, we have Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay, Riesling, or Chablis. And if you're looking for a darkling wine, we have Champagne and Prorecco. We have some shocktails. We have a mold fashioned, a Negroni, a Moscow Boule, a Cosmopolitan, a Fang Island diced tea, and we also have a Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Just make sure you're not looking in the mirror when you order it. We have a full bar stocked with spirits like Hack Daniels, Smirnoff, Tullamore Boo, Captain Gorgon, Mameson, Gorbel, Drowned Royal, Whaley's Irish Scream, Malibu, Bombay Sapphire, Grey Goose, and Mr. Schrush's personal favorite, and it may be my personal favorite pun, we have Disaronno! And we have many more. We also have some Dies and Shrines specials, but they're served all day long. You don't have to be here in the morning. We have Hags and Bacon, a frittata, quiche goraine, horned beast hash, croque monsieur, breakfast burrito, and we also have French toast, mort stack of pancakes, and if you like the thinner pancakes, we have crepes, and a variety of flavors. We have raw berry, fango, blood orange, demon curd, and chocolate hazelnut. Now, are you ready for your just desserts? We have tiramisu, cheesequake, crapple pie, basic witch pumpkin pie. And we also serve ice cream in scoops for single, double, or triple. We have vanilla, chocolate, raw berry, cookies and scream. We have some sundaes as well. We have rot fudge, scaramel, hurdle, and banana splat. We hope you find something you like on this menu. Thanks for chopping in. I don't have much new for the sneak peeks this week. Everything I mentioned last week is still on schedule. I have my Halloween window mural for this year coming out next week on the 19th. And I have some additional signage and decor that I'm making for my video on the 26th, as I said previously. Quick look at November. I can tell you that we're going to chill out a bit from these intense long tutorials. That is until December comes along, with Christmas and the other holidays. But I will talk more about what to specifically expect in November next week. So I'll see you then. Bye.